Dr. Gray, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for being with us. So these trials, when we say they could begin later this year, how soon might that happen?
So good evening to all of you. We are working at an international level with other academics and pharmaceutical companies to see whether we could collaborate on evaluating COVID-19 vaccines. And we hope that the initial trials will happen in the US, and we hope to start our trials after that soon in around October, November. So at a global level, people are working frantically to accelerate the clinical development so that we can get into the field as early as June, July in the US and later on in South Africa. South Africa is well equipped to do trials. We have a lot of experience from our HIV vaccine clinical trialists and who have great experience, have the necessary infrastructure to conduct these trials in South Africa.
And Doctor, I know you've answered this question multiple times by now, but walk us through what this trial process would mean and ultimately what tests need to be passed until the vaccine is rolled out to millions of people in South Africa and the rest of the world.
So first of all, you have to establish its safety preclinically. And then once you have preclinical data in animals that the vaccine is safe, you then start working in a small group of people in a phase 1 trial where you look at the safety and the immune response to the vaccine in humans. Once you're happy with this first phase, you then expand the safety and then move into more larger studies with efficacy studies. So when we talk about these trials in the efficacy, we're talking about 20,000 people that will be enrolled in these studies across the world. So you need that kind of number of participants to be able to establish whether the vaccine works or not.
Outside of the vaccine, Dr. Gray, there's been a lot of conversation about the long-lasting immunity or potential long-lasting immunity of people who have contracted COVID-19 and then later recovered. How soon will it be until we get conclusive enough evidence of that immunity, whether it's there or not?
We need to follow up people who have seroconverts, who have, as you've already spoken about earlier, people that have become convalescent and no longer are COVID-free. We need to follow up those people and look at their blood to see if there's anything special in their blood that may help other people. We hear about a trial that's just been opened up in the US looking at monoclonal antibodies. And so we need to look at all of people who have convalesced and who have managed to clear themselves of the virus so that we can see whether their blood can help us establish other modes of treatment. Besides a vaccine, we could use monoclonal antibodies, and we also need to look at antivirals. So there are 3 approaches that we need to look at to establish whether we can use what we already know about people's immune system and their immune response to see whether we can help us make other monoclonal antibodies or vaccines or other kinds of strategies that will help us use an immune-based response to combat COVID-19.
And the UK is also going that route now, preparing to take blood from people who've recovered from COVID-19 as a trial and trying to use it, of course, to heal those currently battling the virus. How common is that sort of treatment, especially in cases where we're dealing with a new virus or a new strain of something that was previously in existence?
It's very important to have a look at the blood of people who have recovered from COVID-19 to see if there are any special properties, any special antibodies, any special binding antibodies, any kind of neutralizing activity in the blood that can help us use on other people who are infected. So it's very important. Convalescent sera has been used in other disease modalities, and there are studies being done and people being followed up even in South Africa to see whether we can see whether there's anything special about the blood of people who have recovered from COVID-19.
The virus, of course, Dr. Gray, has a lot of people watching the numbers, be it infections or deaths or recoveries, quite closely the world over. In South Africa, I was just looking, on the 17th of April, this was last Friday, we had about 2,700 infections confirmed in the country. By yesterday, Sunday, that figure was at 3,158. When you look at those numbers and the fuller picture, how do you interpret them?
I think we need to do more testing to really establish the burden of COVID-19 in South Africa. And I think these figures indicate that we do need to continue to do social distancing. We need to wash our hands. We need to wear masks, and we need to take this epidemic seriously. And we need to make sure that we don't transmit COVID-19 to other people, and we protect ourselves by making sure that we respect the distance between people and physical spaces in between people, as well as hand washing, public wearing masks in public, and making sure that we practice hygienic practices when we have flu and cold.
All right then, Dr. Glenda Gray, CEO of the South African Medical Research Council. Always great to speak to you on ENCA.